We're back, guys. It was an interesting game number 2. We thought that Hanwha Life had snuck away another one after taking the Baron, but, well, throws will be throws. It wasn't the cleanest game we've ever seen from Hanwha Life, and that means the playoff hopes of both Afreeca and the world's hopes of SKT still remain alive.
And that also means more hype for next week's games because nothing will be fully decided about the top 5 today. Still, big advantage if you can win this best of 5, especially for Hanwha Life, because if they win, they would have the head-to-head by winning the best of 3 in the first round robin and the second round robin, and thus, if game scores are equal, they will be able to tiebreak. Otherwise, there could be a tiebreaker looming. This is the highway robbery. We thought Hanwha Life had found a way to get back into this game, actually get ahead. However, a Gromp into greeting for mid lane farm led to Tucson getting a 2-man knockup that condemned Hanwha Life to the game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, we condemn Hanwha Life for that, but also it was a pretty good read by Afreeca too to say, hey, we got your Cho'Gath, we should get aggressive in their jungle, maybe catch someone out being greedy, and well, they caught 2 people out being greedy. Take a look at the gold graph. Even after the Baron, it shoots down as Afreeca on the backs of their very fed Kuro on the Vel'Koz are able to take game number 2.
Will it be Alistair or will it be the Vel'Koz for the MVP? It's going to be the guy who did the big damage. Going to be the Vel'Koz in the mid lane. 42% damage contribution. And of course, with only a few match days remaining, only one best of 3 left for these 2 players. Just like we noted with Sungwon's 800 points, that MVP hunt with Khan having some down days and also not playing all the games, who's to say someone doesn't usurp him for that first place spot?
Definitely could happen. Kuro, 100% kill participation in that one. Didn't have all the kills, as you guys see 3 assists there, but he had the majority of them. 7 of 10. This guy still doesn't look too happy, as game number 2 was slowly going down the drain after everybody on the side of Afreeca decided to back in Vision, and Hanwha Life just say, hey, we'll take the Baron. Thankfully, they're able to salvage that, and that means we have a game number 3 that will start right now.
No further roster changes between Afreeca Freecs and Hanwha Life. Hanwha Life not bringing any of the B squad. Spirit will, of course, retain his spot after Mowgli did struggle pretty extensively in game number 1. We'll see if Hanwha Life can find a way to get back on the Trundle, because that one wasn't surrendered in game number 2. But now, of course, Afreeca Freecs on the blue side. In game number 1, they were loving the 3 support bans. Do they return to that in game number 3?
Well, they banned Tom Kench in game number 1, but Morgana was banned before that, so maybe they'll just mix up their order, or maybe they'll ban something else. If they ban the Shen there, could mean that they're deciding on a 3rd ban that's not Morgana, but Morgana gets banned here.
Could consider first picking Shen. They want to. Red side bans in Korea, Aatrox, Talia, then you get a situational ban. Not sure if there's any needed response bans after the first couple of games. It's been Hanwha Life abusing back timings from Afreeca in game 1 and game 2.
You mentioned how that 3rd ban on the red side is situational. He used to be Nocturne. He was 20-4, I believe, in LCK, and then teams figured out how to play against him. But look at this. Rakan's going to be banned this time around. They don't want to play it. And they're looking for that first pick Shen, perhaps, this time.
Or Trundle. That's the other big one that's available. Spirit in the lineup does change some of the jungle priorities between Mowgli and Spirit. The final ban here going to be the Yasuo. I think Afreeca Freecs wouldn't claim it at first pick, but Hanwha Life just don't want to leave it open by any means. So the Shen and the Trundle open, they will prefer the Shen. Does mean that if Keen gets a good matchup on the top side, Shen can pack up, and in the mid game, so often we see teams just tag team gank someone like Linderong a million times if you have that good side lane matchup.
Yeah. For Hanwha Life, Trundle seems pretty easy for them this time around. I think they'll reconsider the Leona, which was picked into the Rakan matchup. Yep. We will definitely see something new for their 2nd pick for Hanwha Life here.
Could just take the marksman of choice in this particular scenario. Don't have to go for an early support, but if it was a support, it would be an engaged support.
Hanwha Life fighting had the full name up top, and hold the phone. We got a bull here. It is going to be Alistair coming in for Key in game number 3.
Hasn't shown anyone near the same priority on the Alistair as some of our other laners. Look at this, though, a blind Rise. Now, Keen plays top lane Rise, so they might be trying to bait in this scenario, but Lava's already had a great game on the Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz available if you want to punish the lane matchup. Zoe available as a comfort pick for Lava. Let's see what they decide.
I do like their Zoe. Kind of leaning into the camp that feels like Zoe is a little bit overtuned right now. You can take her, why not? You could have tried to take the counter Vel'Koz into Rise matchup if Lava felt confident on the Vel'Koz, but...
he should do. He just won and had a great game on it. But I'm sure they also know, like we do, that Keen could be playing both the Camille and the Rise in the top side. They don't want to necessarily be counterpicked on the Vel'Koz. Blind Vel'Koz hasn't hit the Rift just yet. Do notice a Galio ban, so they also are curious about what's going on in terms of mid lane matchups. Hanwha Life Esports. We'll mention that for Key, it is his first game this season on the Alistair, a historic pick for all our support players. You have to be able to play Alistair, but certainly not the go-to like it is for Ignar and Tucson and some of our other support players.
Key definitely a guy that can flex onto many different picks. Has a pretty wide champion pool, but mostly Shen, Morgana, Tahm Kench. The Alistair's going to be fun to watch from him. And yeah, they do not trust that the Rise, rather, is going mid lane. Definitely feel like Keen is going to be playing that one. Big smile on his face.
Some people opt into Rise versus Zoe. It's not a terrible matchup for the Rise by any means, but Zoe can definitely snowball and make his life hell. This might also be, we really would prefer this matchup. Please don't play the hard counter matchup of the LeBlanc. They don't want to deal with the Galio either. So we'll see what Hanwha Life do want to do. The top lane pool is largely open. Could be Camille or Rise top lane. They want the confirmation on what the top lane is going to be.
Oh.
They don't know anything here, so this would be a very risky time to take Teemo.
Yeah, just gonna play with our hearts and lock in Kai'Sa again. Worked out in game number 1. Those after the Trundle came bot at level 3. Got a nice gank for him with the Leona. Definitely something you can do with the Alistair too. The last time it was Ezreal, this time it's Ban, so now Afreeca gonna have to pick something a little bit less mobile as well.
Deft was happy enough to pick up the Kai'Sa Morgana. So the Kai'Sa against Varus Morgana. So it's gonna be Varus Shen. Varus obviously oppressive in the laning phase. The Shen, unless his taunt flashing, is a little bit less so. Afreeca Freecs have to reveal what's going on involving their draft. At this point, seems very likely that we're going to be getting a mid lane draft, at least by Hanwha Life's expectation, but a lot of options available. The Rise, a very decent matchup. So what are we doing here? Is Spirit on the Camille? The answer is yes.
Okay.
And it's going to be a Malzahar mid lane into the Zoe. We saw this quite a lot in spring season. Old favorite of Crown into this matchup. You can gank this matchup hard, and you got to mention that from level 6 onwards, the Camille hook shot into the Malzahar combo is a lot of pressure for the Zoe to deal with.
Yeah, it's, you know, the entire team has a gigantic lockdown. Pretty much everybody on that side, and you have a semi-global in the Rise. You have the global with the Stand United, of course. Cho'Gath is going to come in here up against Rise. They don't want to go for the Gnar this time around.
Rise can win a lot of those fighter matchups with jungle attention, and the jungle attention here is Camille versus Trundle. A jungle that only works if he's ahead of the gank in a counter gank position, and one of the most creative pathing junglers in the Camille. There is intense pressure on the laners of Hanwha Life. Rise Camille, very easy lockdown. Malzahar post 6 Camille, very easy lockdown. Taunt Flash and also Chains of Corruption pressure in the bot side. If Hanwha Life can make this a siege game with Zoe raining down hell and Kai'Sa joining in on any of the hard CC, Hanwha Life can certainly scale into relevance, but 1 to 2 items, you have to love the pressure that Afreeca Freecs has in the early to mid-game portion of this game.
They want to take the fight to Hanwha Life, that's for sure. I think, as we've talked about before, a lot of it depends on Seongwon on the side of Hanwha Life. He looks good in game 1, And good for the first gank in game number 2. What can he do this time around? He's got some good lanes to go towards once again. Mid lane going to be a lot harder, but will he look for the top side for Rise? Maybe try to get him out with the pillar, or maybe just another good engaged play out of Key on the Alistair this time down on the bottom side.
So many what-ifs, different look from Afreeca. We don't see the double mage solo lanes too often. Cho'Gath, the closest we get to the top lane mages in recent memory, sprinkling of Vladimir once in a while. Will Aiming be going for the lethality build or the on-hit? He needs to kill a Cho'Gath, so he definitely has to make a trade-off one way or the other.
It's going to be interesting either way. It looks like the countdown has started. Let's decide who's going to take the series. Will it be the Afreeca Freecs or Hanwha Life jumping into game number 3? Here we are, match 3, or rather, game 3 of match 83. We've come a long way here, nearing the end of the regular season of summer.
Fantastic run can only end with one team winning, but right now we're about the one team that can make it to the playoffs. We know either Hanwha Life or Afreeca Freecs will be the 5th and final team in the gauntlet, playing that wildcard best of 3. That's actually a week today, Valdez. Is going to be that first match of the playoffs. We'll be here in the Nexon Arena, brought to you by Valdez and myself. So we will be seeing one of these teams again 1 week from today. It isn't fully decided anymore by today's result. The only result that could lock it in was Hanwha Life winning 2-0. But you want to give yourself that big advantage, and a match victory is the big advantage you're looking for.
We looked over some of the percentages, and obviously when the two teams are this close, whoever takes a 2-1 victory is going to have a massive advantage going into the second match that they have to play.
Look at this Keystone choice by Kuro. Predator Malzahar has been a lot rarer than the other Malzahars. Like Unsealed Spellbook is what we commonly see. Unsealed Spellbook, the starting Ghost is another way you could get a Predator-like effect, but all about the catch here is Afreeca Freecs, all about the mid-game. Stopping Sangyun getting to 2 items in QSS. If he gets 2 items in QSS and they're ahead in gold, hard to see Afreeca Freecs winning.
Who's going to get the smite? It's going to be Seongwon, who is also looking for a nice little trade. Both these junglers had the red buff, but starting the top side here for Seongwon and taking that top scuttle is going to be advantageous for him, as he does have the extra minions. Looking to get in there and actually start the blue, as Spirit is hiding in the bush. Look at the bottom side. There was actually some vision, action rather, down there. Linderong going to face check on into Spirit. Seems like they almost knew he was there, but here's Keen with 0 mana, trying to do something. He's auto-attacking as the Rise, but the smite here is not available for Seongwon. And just his presence is going to lock down the blue for the side of Spirit.
Chipping away Seongwon meant that he couldn't just walk up and take a risk. The spot side, Sangyun takes a bit of free damage. Gotta say, mana bars are super low in this game at level 2. 5. A lot of chunking happened. Key, his flash is down, but Ignite down from Tucson. So that's what happened off screen. Sounds like a taunt into an Ignite play. It went wrong for the side of Hanwha Life. Seongwon looking for 2-0 on the Scuttle Crab, so we'll get it. So there's at least a small victory for him.
Good start. A lot of those World Cup games, when a team went up 2-0, they eventually went on to win those games. But fortunately, we're not watching any of that soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. Seongwon having a good start once again. He's going to be looking for a gank, but look at Spirit. He's in the right spot here. Will be a 3-on-3. Who's going to get the advantage here? The taunt is going to miss, actually. Onto Seongwon. The TP coming through, though. Looking for the flash engage on the Key. The TP late on the side of Hanwha Life, and Keen able to pick up that first blood. But the big double knock-up here, not enough damage to follow up. The 2 mid laners now trying to get on in here. We have a crazy fiesta to start off game number 1. Lava trying to flash forward, but will be taunted down. And one more auto will do it, and Tucson picks up a second kill for his team.
Hanwha Life getting a bit too desperate. The heal from Aiming, the combat summoner advantage, means that no one goes down. Lava goes in to 4 members, is taken out as well. No exit strategy. An interrupt on a back, no kills provided for Sangyun. Early advantage, Afreeca Freecs.
It's really huge. It was 5v5 down on the bottom side, and to win it 2-0. We were talking about what that means in terms of Scuttle. It's much better to see it in the kill column, though.
And you definitely, exactly, you take the kills every time. Well, watch the play here. Spirit being ahead of the play, but not counter-ganked is very important. Aiming ignited so early. Remember, he has summon a heal, and it's teleport from Songyun. Key is always going to go down first. I think you called it best when you said Linderang's teleport. Being second was so consequential because there was so many no flash members that you would think that someone would have got hit by the rupture. Lava wants to try to make them pay, but no ability to get the paddle start over Tucson, and just clubbed down by the sword there from the Shen. Goes down as well. Seems like teams trying to make up for the blushes of Linderang on the late teleport. And Hanwha Life, while they started the play first, the play certainly ended by Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, the TP definitely important on that one. Like the follow-up from Spirit. He has that hard stun. Also, the Alistair was level 2, so he was missing a lot of stats. He had used his summoners to get into the play. And it was just a great fight there for the side of Afreeca. We didn't get to see exactly how the teleports came in, but you can kind of imagine that Keem was just a little bit faster up in the top side.
Some of the things we imagined talking about the draw from Afreeca in Champion Selector about to come online. Predator Malzahar just hits level 6. As I get to that point, Aiming will have Chain of Corruption soon. It almost seems impossible for Spirit to gank a lane for a kill not to be registered if flashes are down, and it was a flash atrocity in the bot lane, which means the Spirit probably licking his lips and saying, hey, which lane am I coming to? So many great lanes to gank.
Yeah. Also having a feast of wards in the top pixel brush in the river. There are 4 wards currently, 2 zombie wards, as well as one of the regular wards and a control ward from the side of Afreeca. So all the vision there. No flash on the Zoe means that they really want to follow up, but it looks like it was called out and Lava is going to play safe enough. Will not be caught out here. Speaking of which, though, there's no summoners everywhere. It's a jungler's paradise, but the good Rune Prison for 2 seconds onto Linderang means that no follow-up comes in.
It got the phase rush as well, so you could disregard the slow from the pillar and pop the Nikes moving around. Nicely done by Keen. See Zoe playing to the top side. That's good lane positioning from Lava.
Now we are going to have Sungwon here as well. There's the Predator looking to jump on in. Portal jump, but they're going to lock him down. Can Sungwon do anything with the dodge circle? Kuro going to flash away. Spirit needing way too much turret damage, though. He looking to follow up, has his flash available again. They want the Shen. He is going to be able to flash away, though. And that means it will only be the 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
And that required the roam from the Cho'Gath as well for no kill involvement. Super high kill game. At the start, you can tell how desperate both teams are. Lava's attempt to go in at level 4 showed you. He was trying to make up. He knows the spot, wants to make a big play. Get his team confident. Talk about the confidence moment of Key. Getting that huge, Tucson, I should say, on the Alistair in game number 2 with the huge Alistair flash Q play in game number 2. Right now, the plays are going the way of Afreeca to the tune of 1,000 gold lead. Game 1 on the red side, Hanwha Life also had a Kai'Sa scaling draft, but they weren't able to punish the Kai'Sa. She got a free farm phase. She was in Head-In items compared to an Ezreal. Question you always ask in a game like this where you have to play the Malzahar tax if you want to get into the backline is, how much of a gold lead does Afreeca have before 2.5 items are being worn by the Kai'Sa? Watching the replay of this play. Sungwon's in a great position. We mentioned someone had to die when Camille hit a lane, but in this case, it was the Camille going down for the 1-for-1. Afterwards, they know that Key has flash open, but it's so situational when Tucson with flash is the only responding person. Tucson gets away, so it does waste a minion wave and a half for the Cho'Gath.
Definitely an annoying feeling if you can only convert 1 extra kill. They're now trying to rotate up onto Keen, who's in a really weird spot. You're going to deny that Realm Warp, and well, it's 4-on-1.
Oh.
He flashes away, but here's Songyun as well. Is going to miss, and Keen is really fast. He just runs away from 5 people. You were talking about Nikes. He just got out of there alive.
Keen is doing his top lane thing. He's doing his Asian Games representative thing. Huge cheer from the crowd. Able to get away from that one. In the meantime, Tucson didn't even have his ult to try to help him. able to get the avoid. Great flash onto the headbutt coming through from Key. And a Charmed Life is led by Key.
How does that even happen? They had so much stealth and just the perfect flash you mentioned. Kind of felt like a Lee Sin escape, but it's Rise who doesn't have any escape built into his kit outside of his ultimate. Got that interrupted, and well, there you have it. The highlights of the series, I suppose.
I mean, you make that flash and die around the side, face checking someone, and you look like a goof. But when you're Keen, who's made so many super plays in 2018 on the Afreeca Freecs, he judged the situation well, was able to punish Afreeca Freecs. The Void Seeker doesn't hit from Songyun, the rest is history. They waste so much time from the members of Hanwha Life, and aiming at some turret damage to punish it.
They got a lot of other stuff elsewhere on the map. You'll notice the mid lane with Zoe dying twice as well. 25 CS ahead is the Malzahar. Early tier 2 boots as well for Tucson, who has 2 kills and 1 assist.
It's the engage boots. We already laid out expectations for this draft. How much can you punish Hanwha Life before Songyun turns on in terms of items? Well, more taunt flashes. We know already hard CC in almost every role. Where Camille goes, deaths should follow. On the side of Hanwha Life, Predator Malzahar also indexing super huge into catch. If you can get away with this Shen build, you go it. It's Snowball to Tucson trying to impact from the support role.
Well, speaking of impact, is going to face check and taunt 2 people. There's the Stand United. They want to turn this around. Spirit getting onto the back line. Makuro super low down on the top side. He's going to go down eventually. Here's Songyun trying to go into the backside now. Aiming is going to be hit in the face. And Hanwha Life looking to turn this around. Someone in a lot of trouble, but he will survive as Spirit cannot stand up to the 4 members. They get a 3rd kill on the backside. And all of a sudden, Hanwha Life, they show up to play.
Linderung has to use both summoners, but it stops Keen from getting into the play. And in an unorganized skirmish, it may only be a recurve bow and a pickaxe, but that's exactly where the Killer Instinct can really take advantage of some positional errors from Afreeca Freecs. Suddenly, the kill pendulum swings the way of Hanwha.
I mean, this has been a series of very much back and forth plays. And, well, Tucson decides, hello, I'm here.
He just walks up. He feels very strong. He gets a 2-man taunt, but it doesn't really do anything. They think with the Shen ultimate, they'll be fine. But Seongwon doesn't give too many mundos about a just lost chapter on Kuro. Eventually gets clubbed to death. Songyun joins, and aiming does go down. Well played by Lava to extend the range. Aiming for sure, thought he was going to get away. Just looking for some autos. They don't have the damage yet. The hook shot nerf is the reason that Seongwon doesn't go down. As a few patches ago, 55 damage by level 5 was shaved away from the hook shot to really nerf that jungle Camille. So while they make the strong engages, while they stick the CC, they don't have the damage to back it up. And now you blink, and the Rage Blade advantage is on the Kai'Sa.
The Rage Blade advantage, the gold advantage by about 100. And, well, it could even be the Drake advantage going to Hanwha Life as well, as they're looking for an Infernal, and it looks like Spirit and Tucson not in position to stop it. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, here we have Hanwha Life in a good spot.
Buying time.
Yeah. But look at that damage onto the side of Tucson now. Is going to get super low, has to nether grasp the Trundle, who's just trying to shake it off. Going to be a missed hook shot. The flash on in with the taunt will get him. But the Realm Warp coming in as well, just to make sure, and now they have the push in the mid lane.
The mid lane push is the more crucial factor. The Kai'Sa didn't roam up. Since Afreeca Freecs will take the mid lane turret here, so little Key can do.
Yeah, you can tell he's trying to clear those minions, but enough damage with 5 members, even this early on in the game, we'll be able to take it out.
All right, so a lot happening around the Rift. This one goes the way of Afreeca Freecs, taking that mid lane turret, really making Lava accountable, getting more gold into the game before Songyun gets his items is important for Afreeca Freecs. And now Camille can just pop over a wall, ultimatum onto Lava, and try to punish him again and again. QSS there to reduce the amount of time he spends in the nether grasp, but still some gank opportunities available. This was after the Infernal had already been claimed. That's the point we didn't really get to. Afreeca Freecs just desperate to use Malzahar ultimate on someone.
Had to be Seongwon, who is, taking the baits away from Keen, away from the Zoe.
Takes so much time to kill him, but
yeah.
he does go down. They would have noticed on their Pixel Brush ward that Kai'Sa was going bot lane, and the absolute cherry on top is that they get the mid lane turret away from Zoe. If that was all done for a kill, it wouldn't have been worth it from Afreeca Freecs, but getting the turret really changes the equation for them.
Yeah, always want to have that turret up and available, especially for the Zoe. But we'll no longer have that. They also have a deep ward in the mid lane, just in case any plays want to happen. There's only one TP on the side of Afreeca. It's only Keen. And no unsealed spellbook on their side either. So at least Hanwha Life should be safe in that. Let's take a look at the jungle difference here.
2 minutes 47 in terms of jungle proximity, expected from Camille, who's much stronger killing champions than she is at clearing the monsters in the jungle. Went the full damage build here with the Tiamat early to help with that jungle clear. Who knows, may even situationally be able to do some split push pressure, and definitely will be considering the piggyback ganks we see all the time, where the jungler and the top laner combine to try to kill someone like the Cho'Gath. First items finally being complete in the mid lane. Still waiting on the Ludens, though, from the Zoe, who has fallen 25 CS behind, and now with minion waves being pushed in, amount of time that Zoe is able to actually spend farming and not just trying to counter roam against a Predator Malzahar, which is already kind of set up to lose, is going to be a bit of a headache for Lava to consider.
Due to no flash here, he was thinking about going in as both the Malzahar and the Camille were coming down the river, but no can do, as now it looks like 4 members of Hanwha Life are hanging around here looking for a potential gank. Keen on the top side, he's got a scale on the rise, has his tier already working towards the Archangels, but we could have tried to make something happen up there. Haven't had a chance to do that just yet as Hanwha. Instead, Afreeca just looking for the Rift Herald tier, as Songyun and the rest of Hanwha Life will have the priority down there to take out that turret.
Yep, they made a pretty full investment on this. Varus already packed up and left. Even though there was no extensive time for Hanwha Life to actually put down vision, I like how decisive they are at saying, I'm pretty sure Varus isn't coming. Let's take the turret as early as possible. That will mean a delayed turret trade. Extra gold. Berserker's Greaves, no doubt, going to be finished now for the Kai'Sa. Everyone backs away. This game is all going to be about how much of a lead Afreeca can get. Like we've already said so many times, they want to kill and a turret dive here.
Well, you know, it is Cho'Gath, and someone's here too, so they're going to get neither, as Linderong just feasts Shelly. Says, thank you very much. Someone and Key and Songyun, all 4 of them up in the top side, so they really want to stop this push from going down and make that Rift Herald trade not as valuable for Afreeca.
Cool thing about this game is we had pretty much the same scenario for Afreeca in game 1 with Mowgli. And very early, we're like, all right, Kai'Sa has too many items. They're not going to be able to hold her down. This is going to be a bad time. And it was. It went exactly as expected there. In this game, we're so much closer. You got to play the taxes. If you're against a Malzahar, that means that the gold lead is actually implied around 4,000 gold. That's another good sign. The pressure here, they've also drafted Camille jungle with strong CC lanes. They know their role is to do as much damage as early as possible. And it's good to see Afreeca adjusting in a pretty similar scenario. And at 18 minutes, I don't think we're any closer to knowing if it'll be Hanwha Life or Afreeca picking up the series.
Definitely a bit of a close one, seemingly in Afreeca's camp for now. But still have to play it correctly. We saw what happened in game number 2. Hanwha Life just saying, hey, free farm in the mid lane. Let's go for that and, well, throw our lead after taking the Baron.
Was a bit of a tragedy, and the ability to shrug that off for a team that has been so close to playoffs as recently as spring, but missed out in the clutch. It's not something we can assume. So far, the backup game here, the first 20 minutes, hasn't necessarily been any huge problems by Hanwha Life. I think they've been very solid so far in this game. They haven't had gold fall into their lap like they did in game number 1, but that's not going to happen too reliably. Trying to all in onto this Infernal. Double Infernal would definitely muddy the waters for Afreeca Freecs.
I mean, they have a Cho'Gath as well, which is going to make this steal a lot harder for Spirit. No doubt he'll think about it, but when he sees the Cho'Gath in his face, he won't take the chance. No point in blowing your flash for a not 50-50 trade. And so double Infernal to the side of a fed Kai'Sa at least. And Hanwha Life have a hope of coming back into this game and actually taking the victory.
I think the evolve on the Kai'Sa supercharger might be there already. Do note that it is the Storm Razor first from Sang-yoon. It is the Rage Blade, Berserk Grease, and Double Dagger. Trying to do the mental math here. I believe it's around 90% attack speed. Could be 100%. I'm not 100% clear, but I want to think he will have the supercharger evolve either now or very soon. We'll be able to see in a team fight very clearly, but the AD is going to be a lot later. This does disincentivize diving into the backline because you won't have the Q burst of the extra missiles being online from the Kai'Sa. So used to the Storm Razor Kai'Sa recently that it is notable. We're not seeing it from Sang-yoon in this game.
I would agree with you. I think he does have the supercharger with the Double Dagger and the Berserker Greaves and the Grinsus. But yeah, we don't have the stats right in front of us here. Maybe you could check them out. Looks like Papa's going to do that right now. But Baron up and available at 21 minutes. Certainly with your fed Kai'Sa, you could think about it, but you were going to need a pick from the side of Hanwha Life to do that. From the side of Afreeca, they do have the Rise and the Varus. That's the type of AD carry you would like to take a Baron, so
even trades will suit Hanwha Life at this point, though. Kai'Sa's getting more gold. The game is extending. And in a turret is definitely a trade up in terms of positioning on the map. And they have the Realm Wall, so maybe there's a way for Keen to actually get them a Baron to once again throw off this game. But the gold continues to roll in the side of Hanwha Life. They now have the Supercharger evolve with the recurve boat being complete. So what happens next here? We feel like we're so close to the tipping point, but not there. And that's the hype part of this game. It was always going to be a close one. Hanwha Life 2-1 in the first round robin. Long time ago, looking over my notes, and I'm seeing like things like, oh, Mundo upset Darius this game. We are thankfully a long way ahead of that meta in the second round robin, and also the awesome dude carries are gone. The AD carries are back in the bot side. Kuro hasn't got massive value out of the Predator Malzahar, and they're definitely losing the flexibility of Unsealed Spellbook Malzahar that we would have more reliably expected from this Malz, but items are rolling in for Keen, and you do wonder if a Realm Warp might straight up win them the game.
If they start the fight in their favor, I think definitely Afreeca should win it, as if they can lock down Sang-yoon, if they can just zone him out of a fight and make him useless and not able to get into the back line. Well, they have a ridiculous amount of damage on their side. The Rise is going to be fed up in the top side. The Malzahar doing well, but also Varus and the Camille doing pretty decently as well. No Trinity Force for Camille or anything like that, but Tiamat and Warriors completed. Not so bad in terms of the damage.
And let's make sure to remember the way the Game 1 and Game 2 could have been decided by Hanwha Life. Afreeca 4-man recalls, a Baron claimed against the run of play. That could happen a third game in a row. That's the thing. If I'm the coach of Afreeca Freecs, I'm shouting at the guys, how did this happen again? How did the Baron get taken under our nose? The player's saying, but coach, we won. And I'm saying, well, no. Like, this is a fundamental of the game. But they failed on 2 games in a row. So far, we haven't had anything to inspect there. The vision control has been good from the side of Afreeca Freecs, but the Baron setups have been the big concern for me against Hanwha Life.
We had Doosin go on a bit of an excursion into the enemy jungle, put down some really deep wards. I mean, that is just about as deep as it gets. All the way up there in the top right, you guys could see that ward, see it on the minimap. If they did want to try to start a Baron and get a flank here from Keen, could do that as he is pushing the bottom side. Either way, it's a nice amount of vision, including a control ward in the enemy red side jungle to see exactly where this Hanwha Life team is.
Afreeca Freecs have largely, with these items, got catch. They have Void Stuff already on Rise, which helps in the trades against Cho'Gath in the side lane, but also, if that suppression comes down and Rise is next to the Malzahar, someone's dying. So, finding a pick is so important. They're backing in a control ward. Someone should probably clear that out. I think Songwan is on duty. Baron control being there for Afreeca. 5 points in W coming soon for aiming, so he'll have strong poke and also kill secure. The W active for the Varus, but it isn't a lethality build, it is a build engineered to get some kills on Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath 3 games in a row for Linderung. 2 Baron Smites have come in with that feast. Waiting to see if a third one might actually put Hanwha Life in pole position for top 5.
He's going to have to find some value in this game eventually, because so far he's just been sitting in the side lane, losing in farm to the Rise. He is down a couple of levels. Has a lot of magic resist. That's about all he does have right now, so he's going to be good against Rise and Malzahar at least.
With the Malzahar Predator and the Varus Shen bot lane into Kai'Sa, losing 2 Infernals is actually a pretty big frustrating point. You would imagine they would have bot side river control. And now there's a 3rd Infernal, which is spawned. It's full fire on the Rift and in terms of the Drake spawns. Afreeca Freecs cannot afford for a 3rd one to be handed over to Hanwha Life. We haven't seen any Zoe value. We haven't seen any Kai'Sa value. But 24% of what those champions represent, 35, 40 minutes into the game, is too damn much to give over.
Well, the vision is being secured here. Varus in the bottom side, Rise in the top side, looking for a TP. They have the control ward at the blue right now.
Very far away teleport, safe teleport from the Rise.
Yeah. Wants to join up. It looks like they're comfortable to take it straight up 5v5, but if the Cho'Gath comes in here and says, this is mine, then it's gonna be his. They get a 3rd Infernal on the backside, and now Hanwha Life looking to engage. Not sure about that. He is gonna die on the backside. Linderung locked down, and the 3-man Roborb coming on in. The stopwatch from Spirit to keep them all alive. But look at Songyun on the right side. Is gonna take out Kuro, but it looks like both Seongwon and the Cho'Gath Linderung will go down, so 3 for 1, but another Infernal to Hanwha Life.
What does this mean for Baron, though? Afreeca Freecs are low, but they have quite a lot of damage. Zoe's focusing on blue buff, and the Kai'Sa goes bot lane. They need to respond to this as Zoe almost dies.
Oh boy. Well, they are going to be able to kill Keen here, as they didn't realize that Songyun was in position, and that means that the Baron cannot be taken.
And you saw some frustrated assist blue pings on the Baron. The call was Baron. They don't get the Baron. Songyun has no mana, but they're still fighting.
I mean, they need Spirit and aiming to get in position, but now Key is going to respawn, and I mean, you said it best, right? Afreeca, they've had some trouble here over the course of summer, and well, they needed Keen there to group up and go for Baron, not try to 1v1 the Zoe.
We're going to talk about this play that came through here. Hanwha Life should take the Baron and get the hell out of there. It's 3 Infernals, but they get baited with the Rupture and say, yes, I'm going in, I'm Alistair, but they quickly get the call. This is not the fight to take. This could go a lot worse for Hanwha Life. The moment the party warp comes in, anything can happen in this fight. Malzahar gets the ult. It ends up being a 3 for 1 as Songyun cleans up Kuro. But actually on the picture-in-picture, they're on to Baron. They're starting it up here. We'll see if we He's caught.
He was caught for sure. He's trying to click that blasting plant, and he will, but the knock up here on the Malzahar, and here's Songyun into the back line, gets 2 kills. Where did Spirit even go? That's going to be a huge play now for Hanwha. They start the Baron bait in Afreeca, and now a triple Infernal. They're looking for their Baron.
I think Afreeca are really mad about what happened at the end of that replay that we couldn't see. We play on the Korean server. We know all about using pings. The assist ping as the ally solo dies trying to get the pick onto Zoe means something for sure. This Baron's going to be picked up. This might not great, but they get it anyway. But Afreeca had a free Baron, 4-man Baron, they would have gotten it. Instead, Keen got greedy trying to get a pick at the end. And speaking of picks, everyone tried to kill Keen.
Well, we've seen this before. Sometimes it's a Galio, sometimes it's an Alistair. You can't just unload all of your damage and all of your pick. Where did Spirit even go?
A feast and the last order killed it.
That ranged feast. Well, oh boy. Definitely some frustration to the side of Afreeca because, I mean, we said it before, if Hanwha Life are able to win this one 2-0, they're straight in, but a 2-1 will make it very likely that they're able to make it into the playoffs. They, I think, just need to win one game up against KT.
That would, in fact, be the equation. We'll talk about it later, but the Baron is also straight fire against a Zoe Kai'Sa. What are they going to do? They don't have the range. The waveplay doesn't work. Malzahar ults the first person. Good news story follows. But now, against the Baron, Afreeca Freecs are watching the gold lead grow for Hanwha. It's now about parity between the two. And the 3 Infernals, they're going to feel that too.
Kai'Sa is just gonna shred through that entire backline. I mentioned how Afreeca has so much damage, but not many of these members are all too tanky. Keen has a lot of shielding. Yes, they have the Shen to help out with some utility in terms of tankiness, but other than that, they don't have an Alistar, they don't have a Cho'Gath.
Oh.
And, well, Lava with triple Infernal, doesn't matter what his early game looked like if he can chunk out a Shen like that.
Feels like some patches have been reverted when you see 3 Infernal Paddle Stars, and we already know that the Paddle Star does a lot of damage, so this is just a Banshee Veil QSS Amp Tome Ludens Zoe also. It's not really a good item timing for 30 minutes at all, but 24% bonus is happy news for Hanwha. This was a much better attempt at Afreeca to hold down the Kai'Sa, but unfortunately for them, the really big mistake from Keen dying and not securing Baron may just be a series decider. This series might be decided by that one mistake, just like it might have been decided by Hanwha Life's mistake through Sungyun in game number 2. Hanwha Life roll up to another inhibitor. We're definitely going to see a pretty big Baron buff power play by Hanwha Life.
It's just about as gigantic as you would like right now, as well. They are unbelievably scary too. They have a really nice amount of engage with P, always threatening in the front line. Nice bit of damage thrown at the Cho'Gath, but that's about it. Their Siege gonna be coming in here. Sungwon just able to go ahead and auto the turrets, and there's just no pressure from Afreeca. They cannot fight this team right now.
Trying to finish off another inhibitor, all in one Baron buff push, 30 seconds in. You guys are wanting just a bit of visual lag on our end. The players aren't experiencing that. That would not be good for competitive integrity.
Yeah, we would have seen a pause
yes.
if they were experiencing the lag.
But if it's on the screen, we gotta speak and annotate it to the fans. So that's just on our end, don't worry about it. I'm sure some people right now are calling for a remake because, well, Afreeca Freecs have a lot of hopes riding on them today.
They're, you know, the SKT fans are hopping in the Afreeca basket today.
So just explain it to the SKT fans, because there's so many of them out there. Even though SKT's not in the game, somehow it always comes to SKT. The thing is, if Hanwha Life and Griffin finish 4th or higher, this will only be decided after the regular season. In the postseason, if they both finish top 4, SKT can't make Worlds Gauntlet and thus can't make Worlds to answer the age-old meme. So for them, they want to see Hanwha Life just miss out on top 5, let alone be fighting in one best of 3 to eliminate SKT from Worlds qualification.
Yep, keep in mind that even if they take the 2-1, doesn't mean that Hanwha Life is into the playoffs.
Correct.
They still need to win that game up against KT. And then they need to win the best of 3 up against one of those top 4 teams, which seem on another tier compared to everyone else in the LCK. So your hopes are still pretty decent if you're an SKT fan, but if you're a Hanwha Life fan, I mean, this is looking fantastic for you right now. I mean, this is a huge turnaround. Afreeca making a couple of mistakes, and you're able to capitalize it on this in a big way. Getting behind, you're able to make a Kai'Sa draft work twice as well. Even secure 3 Infernal Drakes against the run of play somehow, some way. The Cho'Gath 3 times for Linderong seems really valuable for them so far.
Definitely seeing champion priorities rise and fall like the Kai'Sa. Here comes this attempt at the 3rd inhibitor.
Well, the Shen took a ridiculous amount of damage, had to recall on the right side, but either way, it's the slow and steady pace here for Hanwha Life, as only a sliver of health left on that last inhibitor turret. And, well, not looking good in the rest of the base here for Afreeca. Should be the 3rd inhibitor going down here.
The base defense is going to be a really tricky one. The 3 Infernals for Hanwha Life is just soul-crushing if you're an Afreeca Freecs fan. We always talk about the old joke of it being an iPhone game when it's the turret defense, when you push in 3 super minion waves. Well, when there's 24% AD and AP, it really does feel like Hanwha Life got a hold of that mum's credit card and bought the coin doubler and bought everything. When it comes to the 3 Infernals, it's the ultra high roll. And now Afreeca Freecs, maybe they'll just try to look for a Hanwha Life-esque gank brush and try to make it not about the turret defense, because the turret defense is looking real bad.
All they can really do is hope to wait for those inhibitors to spawn and then get one good fight. They need to catch the Kai'Sa. That's really what it comes down to. At the end of all Kai'Sa comps, she is the main focus, and if you can take her out, maybe you can smother the Zoe as well and just win the fight, but it's going to be a long road out of your base to start off with. And with the Baron coming up here in 40 seconds, and now a Mountain Drake to help out their Baron speed. It's been very lucky Drakes to the side of Hanwha Life, and might just be their lucky day, as if they take out the Baron, should be a pretty easy win from there.
Every time a Paddle Star comes down, we're getting to one-shot territory, even in that low damage build that Lava is rocking. Void Staff, Banshee Veil, and Ludens. 3 items. He ended up blasting one, we should mention that. But that Infinity Edge for the Kai'Sa is back, and that's always the one where my eyes get fully dilated, and I get really worried if she's free hitting at any moment in a fight.
Baron gonna spawn in 1 second.
Spawn on an award.
Well, is it gonna matter? The answer is, well, no, as Afreeca think about it, and then they'll just leave it. Another feast goes to Linderong as he builds up in another stack. And Elder Drake's still a long time away, but they can push in and take the inhibitor again, at least.
I just don't know how they do it, Valdez. It has to start with a Camille ultimate, but how does it end? If it's not Songyun dying real quick, they have so much to worry about. Hanwha Life roll in, looking to take that huge lead in terms of that top 5 calculation. What can Afreeca Freecs do?
Well, you mentioned the engage. Keen is trying to do his part. He's picking up the Spellbinder, trying to get in there, do a nice amount of damage to chunk down the front line. But he's going to be knocked down. Spirit is going to engage onto a Cho'Gath. He, though, does flash back, but he has his ultimate available, and down will go Spirit. That's a trade they'll take any day. And Songyun just waiting for the moment. Is going to go in now. Flashes in now, trying to get on top of Keen. Is not going to be able to, but the rest of Afreeca is just way too low.
Not getting the kills yet. They will get the ability to reach the fountain, potentially fight again.
It's only aiming here at full health. Now Keen is going to come back, and it looks like Hanwha Life, with enough on the line, they're not going to take the risk. They know they have the timer, still 2 minutes left on the top side. Double super minion. Maybe they can look towards that Elder Drake next.
They used 4 flashes to try to get the last 2 exit kills to basically win the game 4v2, but unable to do so. The flashes are now down, and suddenly there may be an opportunity for Afreeca. Going to watch the replay. 2 or 3 kills, and the game just inevitably ends with the multiple minion wave pressure. Keen stasis, super high value. Spirit is DPS'd out. We definitely look a bit quizzically at the Malzahar ult being used on Key, but Crow just wanted to use it. He knew that if he didn't ult the Alster, he'd probably still have the ult and not be used. They don't get the actual explosion on anyone at the tail end of this play, and that does mean Afreeca live for at least one more fight.
Kuro, with basically 0 mana, did all he could to just get out of there. He's able to cleanse away from the trouble bubble, got himself out of trouble and lived. And that's one of the guys you mentioned that had to live, but now we have double super minion in every lane. And Afreeca, are they equipped to stop this? Well, they do have a Rise. Camille's not all so great. It's really up to Rise, Malzahar, and Varus to try to clear these waves. But the siege out of the side of Hanwha Life, also pretty good.
You want the group minions, and then they'll do most of the work, but notice the minions are actually not aggroing the turrets at all. It's just a single minion wave. Hanwha Life, let's see if they can work this out. 25 seconds on top lane here. There's the poke, aiming.
Well, if you take out their AD carry, maybe you can just win the game, as now the Baron buff looking to be pushed into the bottom side. The engage at a Key just to knock them away. And the Nexus is available, but are they going to do it? The Roam Orb is not going to come in. Aiming will go down, and so will Tucson. A double kill to Zoe as well. The ace and Hanwha Life will take the victory here, 2-1.
Congratulations to Hanwha Life. Such an important match in the calculation for top 5. Nobody is overjoyed on the side of Hanwha Life just yet, because they have not secured their position. But what you said earlier, Valdez, is correct. Remaining match, one to be played by both. Hanwha Life Esports play KT Rolster. KT looking for 2-0-2-0 to guarantee them first spot and guarantee an automatic seed in the grand final. Hanwha Life need a single game victory to guarantee top 5. If they go down 2-0 to the team of KT and Afreeca Freecs beat Jin Air 2-0, then Afreeca Freecs will qualify. But now, because they hold to head-to-head, if the game score is the same, that means the win and loss is the same. when it comes to Afreeca Freecs and Hanwha Life. That tiebreaker will also be broken by Hanwha Life. So no tiebreaker between the two. It's all going to be about if KT can do a big assist to the team of Afreeca Freecs, and if Afreeca Freecs themselves can 2-0 a Jin Air team that is by no means a free win, desperate for their own escape from relegation.
Yeah, the way you put it, honestly, it almost feels like Hanwha Life have a better chance to take one game away from KT than Afreeca have a chance to 2-0 Jin Air and not lose one. It's really sad times. The camera there on Keen, as there were a lot of mistakes made in this series. Keen was definitely part of the pool of mistakes, but remember, this game all started with the 5v5 in the bot lane.
And there's some crazy stuff in this game, and Afreeca got 2 goes at trying to beat the Kai'Sa. And the game 1, I thought their draft was off. They gave her too much breathing room. That was a pretty easy win for Hanwha Life. This time, they traded up in the early game. I like the Camille with the idea of, let's just make this a fast game. We've got hard CC everywhere. Let's get the kills. And for a moment, it worked. In this fight, it did work as Lava went down, getting a bit greedy, trying to close up. There was a turnaround kill for the Trundle, and yet, Afreeca Freecs was still in a good spot. We saw some plays where Kai'Sa was able to prosper. Actually got the first Rage Blade, despite the fact that Varus' lane is so much stronger. This is that play where Tucson went too far with no vision. It started off, they couldn't kill anyone fast enough. Kai'Sa swoops in, aiming can't find the same value, and Hanwha Life eventually closed this game out with 3 Infernals on their weak bot side of the map.
So funny to watch this fight. Hanwha Life behind in terms of gold and items at this point, but it's a mid-game Kai'Sa and Zoe doing their work, and they get the advantage in the engage. That was the 3rd Infernal that went to the side of Hanwha Life, and this is Keen greeting for the kill to try to get Lava down. Songyun shows up out of nowhere, probably thought that he had backed. That was not the case.
If you go back and watch the actual live action as Keen dies, there's assist pings from Afreeca Freecs on the Baron saying, hey, it was a free Baron. That was our way to win. But Keen got too greedy, got outplayed in the end, and unfortunately from there, the Infernals, the Barons, the zoo of minions into the base. There was no way for Hanwha Life to be able to actually be held for the entire duration. They held on once. That was them being held. By the end, everything comes together. He gets into the backline. In swoops a Kai'Sa, and in swoops the victory for Hanwha Life.
You talk about a zoo of minions, but it's been a bit of a zoo here in LCK summer with the new meta, the awesome dudes in the bottom side. One of our top 3 top laners having a rough game in game 3. Afreeca, the runners-up, not able to make it. SKT not making it into playoffs. What a weird and wonderful split we've had so far.
And I'll echo this when Afreeca Freecs play again, but consider that Afreeca went into Rift Rivals as one of the strongest teams in Korea off the back of a runner-up position. They are now 3-7 in match score since being preferred to KT in that final game, losing Rift Rivals. We talked about the King Zone hangover after Rift Rivals. The Afreeca Freecs one might lead to them missing the damn playoffs despite being so impressive over the course of 2018.
It's weird what these international events will do to some of these Korean teams who are caught in the hangover and struggle to get over it, but either way, Afreeca, again, they're not out of it just yet. They need to have that 2-0 against Jin Air. We'll see if they can do it, but the man of the match is going to be Songyun. We're going to get another interview with Songyun, everybody's favorite. Only his 4th time up there, but 7-0-4 on the Kai'Sa is going to net him that interview once again. So guys, I'm going to hand it over to Ji-Sun. She's going to help out with the translation. Let's hear from these 2 handsome gentlemen once again.
Thank you very much. This is Ji-Sun with their interview translations, and today we are having interview with Sungwon and Songyun from Sana Life Esports. Congratulations on the victory. Thank you very much. It was such an important game for you guys. How do you guys feel? Well, if you made it to the 2-0 victory, we were just surely in the playoffs, so it's a little bit sad, but we're going to make sure to win our upcoming series. I think I heard it wrong. So Sang-yeon, you wanna add on to that? No matter what the score is, well, we did pick up the victory, so it's really relieving, and we're almost there to the postseason, so it's really meaningful for us. You know, all the 5 players were performing so well, so they kind of managed you guys to pick up the victory today. And in the previous interview, Sungwon, you mentioned that the teamwork is really solid nowadays. Is there any special effort you guys put in for the teamwork? Well, nothing special. I think we tried to communicate more during the games. And during the feedbacks, you know, we always watch the replays today and share our feedbacks all together. And I think we did pull out great results from our practices and the feedbacks. And Sungwon, you know, the way you stare at the camera is so deep, you know? Actually, I don't really care about my eyes or my looks, so yeah, never mind. So we have to speak up at the draft. Well, Hanwha has been banning out Rakan for 8 consecutive games, but today, you guys opened Rakan and counterpicked Leona. So was that some kind of Rakan-specific strategy? Well, during the practice games, you know, we always lose against and also with Rakan, so we just try to ban out Rakan a lot. But recently, he said he thinks Leona is a really strong pick against Rakan, so I think we want to pull that off in the real games. So it was a very smart strategy, and also you survived against 3 players at mid lane, you know? What was going on over there? Well, I didn't see any angle for me to die there, so I was just trying to hold them in the mid lane, but when I saw Ezreal ultimate, I should have dodged it, but I was a little bit frightened when I saw the ultimate, but I was lucky to survived. So let's go through the clip here. The great escape from Sungwon. You know, all the walls and all the CCs. We thought that you were close to dying. And also the Ezreal ultimate, but you survived. You were so in HP. I think it was like 32 HP left. It was so close. And you know, you guys took the Baron really early in the game. And also, I think Hanwha enjoys the Ryze ultimate Baron combo. So whose decision was that? Oh, I can't remember specifically, but someone said that all the players are recalling on Afreeca, so I think it is our turn to take the Baron. Sang-yeon, do you remember? Well, I actually don't remember also. Just somebody said so. Someone said, let's go Baron. And, you know, we kind of ended up with one conclusion as a whole team, so I can't just pick out just one player. Is there any question? And after that, there was a very clean team fight near Baron's Nest. You know, there were some close team fights also, but the third Baron try, there was a very clean team fight on Hanwha's side. So let's go through the clip. What was going on over there? Well, all the Afreeca players were forced in the Baron's Nest, though. I think we knew that we were in the lead. So they had to escape out of the nest. So I think we were easy to win that team fight over there. And after that Baron, you kind of took down Anivia after that, so was that your own decision? Yeah, if I just can't take down Anivia or just stop her from recalling, we knew that we were going to win, so that was my role to do at that moment. So let's move on to game 3. I think you did a lot of works with your ultimate on Kai'Sa. So how do you make all the decisions with the ultimates? Well, it's hard to describe. In my head, it just go yes or no to myself. So yeah, if my brain tells me yes, I just go in. If you play it a lot, you kind of get the feeling whether you can go in or not. Then what was going on over at that moment? Well, Varus didn't have flash over there, so I was sure that we were going to win the team fight. So taking down all the Afreeca players, I think Hanwha was able to make a great lead. And Seongwan, did you know that you had all the first bloods on first and second sets? Especially, I'm going to say that you always make clean ganks in the early stage. Well, I want to consider where the opponent junglers are, so I want to put a lot of wards, and also I want to check out whether the junglers had ward or lens, so that kind of factors kind of tells me the answer, whether I should go for gank or not. I mean, Seongwan is not a good jungler, but I don't know why the opponent players are getting ganked by him. I think Seongwan is a very good player, but you know, Sangyun is making some kind of joke. Any good comments for him? Well, Seongwan is the best. Game 3. I have question for the team fight. So before taking the Baron, well, let's have a talk with the replay. Well, I think that was the momentum for Hanwha Life Esports. Well, our goal at that moment was to open fight. We're not actually trying the Baron for real. You know, Ki was hiding there to open team fight with me. Very aggressive play, and you guys were able to pick up really nice results. So both of teams were so aggressive today. So the match was so exciting. So I want to ask you about Kai'Sa. How would you like to rate your own play? Well, in the previous match against Afreeca, I had some hard time with Kai'Sa. So if I lost again, I thought that I would never be able to play Kai'Sa again. But it's really relieving that I got the victory today. Well, that is one of my most champion. But thanks for the victory today. I think I will be able to play Kai'Sa more. And Hanwha Life Esports is so famous for having very decent meal after every matchups. Well, today you can check out what we're gonna eat today later on Hanwha Life Esports official Instagram page. So, we'll be looking forward to your post. And your next opponent will be KT Roaster. They are strong. You know, in the spring split, you guys were so close to the playoffs, but you guys failed. But today, you guys are so close to the playoffs for this split. Is there any last message for the rest of the split? Well, our win rate against KT Roaster is not that bad, so we have high confidence. We're gonna prepare really hard to make sure to take down KT Roaster. Spring split, we did have hard time for not getting one single point for the playoffs, so we're gonna make sure to secure all the points that we can gain. So this will be the end of the interview with Seongwan and Sangyun from Hanwha Life Esports, and I will pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, for the wonderful translation, as always. And, well, it was a bit faster of the games, at least. We've been having a lot of average, 42, 43-minute games, but Hanwha made it happen in 3, and now they're in 5th place, looking to secure it next time up against KT.
Let's talk about the equation if we have time here. Afreeca Freecs can match Hanwha's match score, but the problem is we have match score then game score in Korea. The game score can be matched, but in that case, it is tie-breaked by head-to-head. Hanwha have now beaten Afreeca Freecs twice. They have to get ahead in game score. So if you guys at home are wondering, the only way Afreeca Freecs can qualify is if KT Rolster actually 2-0 Hanwha on Tuesday, and then Afreeca Freecs 2-0 Jin Air. Otherwise, Afreeca's out.
It's going to be interesting. Currently, +6 is Hanwha and +4 is Afreeca. So if Afreeca get +6 with the win, Hanwha would get negative or +4, right? So yeah, it's interesting how the way it works out there, but definitely it's going to be hard for Afreeca. Hanwha seem to have secured a really good spot for themselves to make it into the finals, or the playoffs rather, for the first time.
And those playoffs are also going to be decided by the result of our second match today. So we're a little bit after 8 p.m. It'll be about a 20-minute break. Kingzone versus BBQ, definitely a very lopsided match, but for Kingzone, any victory is not good enough. They need a 2-0. Their game score is behind a lot of their contemporaries at the top of the table. A clean 2-0, sending us home early. That is what Kingzone are looking for. Otherwise, they might be fighting as early as the wild card all the way on in terms of best of 5s.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very close one we've had. We've been talking about it all season, all split. It's been super competitive, especially up towards the top. And yeah, Kingzone, I mean, I'm sure the odds should be very much in their favor. We'll see if they can secure that 2-0 victory after a 20-minute break. We'll see you guys in just a bit for that next match about Kingzone versus BBQ.
I see you always wanna go somewhere to waste your golden soul. I see the smile you never show. Oh no. Oh, when the morning sun when you
It's been many days, many ways misled, knowing that I'm tiptoeing on both sides of the fence, trying to figure it out, but I'm living in doubt. So scared one day that your grace might run out, cause I'm so far from perfect, so close to worthless, feeling no good for worship, trying to understand this life that you purchased. Am I just a man destined for death, or do I deserve it? You died for my sins and that's the verdict. You carried out God's true will and purpose with urgency for the sake of love, forgiveness and eternity. Your grace is enough. I got so many questions, so many things to change. I'm calling out, but sometimes you're far away. I get discouraged and seem to always fall flat, but that's when you pick me up and bring me back.